Hello again. The wholesale transformation of Britain's Christian chapels into mosques has for the last few years been proceeding slowly, quietly and inexorably. There is an apparent and tacit agreement that this subject is not to be spoken of out loud, and so the entire programme, part of two seldom discussed trends in society, is conducted without any publicity. Of these two trends, the first is that strain of thought exhibited by many people which declares that it is wise and desirable for Christianity to be dislodged from its special position in the nation's life. This is typified by the current plans to drop the prayers, which are usually read at the opening of parliamentary sessions. The second is that Christianity's rapid decline is matched by the corresponding rise of Islam as Britain's most important religion. At first sight, such a claim might appear a little far-fetched and outlandish, but a closer look at some recent events will soon show it's anything but. Let's begin by looking at what is going on in chapels in hospitals, colleges, railway stations and football clubs. Throughout the 20th century, hospital chapels were Christian places of worship in which people of any religion or none at all went to find solitude and calm. Patients and their relatives, together with visitors, would go to these chapels for reflection or prayer as the mood took them. There were similar places in other institutions, all Christian in nature but open to and used by those of any religion. At the turn of the last century, however, it was seemingly decided that such places were an anachronism, and so they began to be replaced by so-called multi-faith prayer rooms. At first sight, this struck many people as being very right and proper. After all, why shouldn't chapels be open to those of all faiths or none? Of course, they already were, but this at least was the rationale behind the move. Whether those who initiated this process knew how it would develop, we will never know, but the results are now there for all to see. It wasn't only in hospitals that chapels were undergoing this change. The same was happening in airports, railway stations and further education colleges. It soon became clear that there was more to this business than at first met the eye. A couple of years ago, a rabbi travelling from New York landed there at Heathrow and decided to conduct his morning prayers in the multi-faith room. Upon entering the room, a uniformed airport employee told him that he would have to remove his shoes, as is the practice in Islamic mosques. When the rabbi explained it wasn't part of his religion as a Jew, the man insisted, and so the rabbi left. In short, Heathrow's multi-faith area is not a multi-faith area at all, but it is a mosque devoted specifically to those who practice Islam. In the description to this video, I give a link to a news item about this matter. The Heathrow multi-faith prayer room is not the only mosque masquerading under a new name. Many such places in other public spaces have no chairs, and those praying there are expected to use one of the prayer mats which are provided. This hardly makes for a welcoming environment for anybody other than Muslims. At Birmingham New Street railway station, the multi-faith prayer room, which is listed as a mosque on various Muslim websites in the Midlands, even has washing facilities so that Muslim visitors may conduct their ritual ablutions before prayer. These type of uniquely Islamic measures in our multi-faith prayer rooms can understandably be disconcerting for members of other religions. At the Redbridge campus of New City College, which runs a network of further education colleges in East London, a Christian couple attending a training course found that there was one such space. Assuming that the room was open to those of all religions, they thought it would be nice to pray together there at lunchtime. Of course, it wasn't a multi-faith prayer room at all, but a mosque, and there was no possibility of their praying together. There were, in fact, two multi-faith prayer rooms, one for men and the other for women. The room for men contained no chairs, a pile of prayer mats, an advertisement for a Muslim charity, and some material in Arabic. Unable to pray together in such an area, the Christian couple went to a nearby church instead. The mutation of chapels into mosques is one aspect of the deliberately engineered decline of Christianity. Another is a determined effort to prevent any public display of the Christian faith from being acknowledged. The uniquely familiar symbol of Christianity, instantly recognisable to anybody of any faith across millennia, is of course the cross. Yet the sight of the cross today seems to have the same lethal effect on many left-wing and progressive people as it once did upon vampires in the old Hammer horror films. They shrink away from it in fear and disgust. This resentment has led to the cross's removal not only from chapels but also from any public context. It is seen as particularly offensive when worn around the necks of practicing Christians. Airlines and hospitals alike have driven people from their jobs for openly displaying this symbol of faith. Sikhs may wear the kara, a steel bangle about their wrist to indicate their adherence to their own religion without comment. Jews may wear skull caps, and Muslims are free to adopt the hijab. Let anybody expose a cross to public view, though, and they're likely to run into difficulty from many employers. In 2020, 61-year-old theatre nurse Mary Onuoha was forced out of her job with Croydon University Health Services Trust in South London after complaining about the way she had been treated for wearing a small gold cross around her neck because she is a Catholic. Although every other outward sign of religious faith has been tolerated in the operating theatre, it was felt that Mary Onuoha's cross was a danger to patients because it might harbour germs. Other staff during surgery wore lanyards around their necks, bunches of keys, but it was only the cross thought by senior staff to be a potential source of infection. An employment tribunal decided in 2021 that the nurse had been victimised, and in the words of their final judgment, stopping Christians from displaying the cross has been a feature of wider persecution campaigns. In other words, they felt that an outstanding nurse had been driven from her job because she insisted on proclaiming her Christian faith to the world. There have been a number of similar cases to that of Mary Onuoha in recent years, and the message seems to be fairly clear. The outward display of symbols of Islam or any other religion is fine, but the cross must be kept out of sight. The thumbnail to this video shows a section of a leaflet about religious toleration and spiritual care produced by the Essex Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust. You will see a wonderfully diverse selection of religious symbols ranging from Judaism's Star of David to the Crescent and Star of Islam, from Hindu and Buddhist signs to that which is sacred to the Sikhs. There is, however, a glaring omission: the cross. Instead, in much fainter print than any of the others, is the ichthys, which is a special sign used by Christians to indicate their faith. This fish-shaped symbol is not usually recognisable, though, to members of other religions, and most Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs will not realise that the insignificant little symbol, which looks like a child's drawing of a fish, is in fact meant to signify Christianity. This too is part of the same determination to avoid any obvious signs of the Christian faith being displayed openly.